Hey everyone, it's Mrs. Wheely, and we're going to go over the week 3 distance learning story problems, and I'm going to just do all of them. So you're going to get one video for story problems, you're going to get one video for the math task, and you're going to get one video for the fractions worksheet this week. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with Monday. So you're just going to check your work, and if you did it correctly, awesome. If you didn't get the same answer that I showed you, then you want to go back to your work and ask yourself, what did I do different? Why is my answer different? How can I change my thinking to get myself to that correct answer? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to talk about Monday first. On Monday, our question was, what fraction of the figure is not shaded? What does the numerator represent? What does the denominator represent? So we've worked on fractions before. In my classroom, we worked on fractions before we left on this distance learning break. And as a reminder to you, the numerator is the top number. It's part of the whole. And the denominator is the bottom number, and it is the whole amount. How many parts does it take to get me back to the whole amount? So here on Monday, we have kind of like a table here where we have 6 total parts. So what I would do is I would write the number 6 for the denominator because it takes the 6 parts to make the whole amount. And now I'm going to count how many are not shaded. So that means the boxes that are white and not gray. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say I have 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to write it right here. I have 3 not shaded over the total of 6. So the way that I read this fraction is I read it 3/6. And then it says, what does the numerator represent? The numerator represents the number of not shaded pieces, and the denominator represents the total amount of pieces to make the whole rectangle. All right, so that's Mondays. You should have gotten 3/6. Tuesday, we have a number line, and it says, what fraction is represented by point A? Well, none of these points on this number line are numbered. So I don't even know how many parts there are to my whole. So I have to figure that out first. And the way that I do that is I kind of count from 0 to 1. And that's how I find out how many parts it takes to get me to the whole amount. So you can follow me on my screen, and I'm going to take this, I'm going to change it to pink because, well, pink's my favorite, so it's fun to work with. And I'm going to start at 0, and I'm going to just count every single line on the number line. That represents one part of the whole amount. So I need to find out how many parts there are to make a whole so that I can correctly identify point A on the number line. So I'm going to just start counting. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It took me 6. I'm going to write it right here. There is 6 parts to get to the whole amount. If I'm at 1, that's the same as saying I am at 6/6. If I have all 6 pieces, of the 6 pieces, I have the whole amount. So now that I know that my denominator is 6, or the whole amount to make a whole, I can now label part A. So A is here. We know that its denominator is going to be 6, because that's how many parts there are to make the whole. And I'm going to start at 0, and I'm going to just skip count again. And I'm going to say, or count up 1, 2, and 3. To get to A, I was at 3 of the 6 pieces, so the answer is 3/6. Hey, that was the same as Monday. It's funny. So let's go to page 2, or Wednesday's story problem. So Wednesday's story problem has 4 fraction models for you. for you to label and identify. It says write the fraction for the shaded parts of each shape. So again, I need to find out how many parts there are to create a whole. That's my denominator. And then I count the number of shaded parts, and that's going to be my numerator. So let's get started. Right here I have 1, 2, and 3. It is 3 parts to get me to the whole, so that's my denominator. And one of them is shaded, so the answer for the first model is 1/3. Here it's 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to make the whole amount. And I notice that 2 of them are shaded, so that's my numerator. 2/4 is my answer, or my fraction that represents this model. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts to make the whole. So that's my denominator. And the parts that are shaded, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them are shaded, so my fraction is 4/6. And the last one for Wednesday, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 parts to make the whole, and I can see that 3 of them are shaded, so my fraction is 3/7. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at Thursday. Thursday says Riku had a candy bar that was cut into 6 pieces. He ate 2 of the pieces of candy bar. What fraction of the candy bar is left? So for me, I think it's easiest to draw my candy bar to break it up into 6 pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw my candy bar, and I'm going to use brown, because usually candy bars are chocolate and they're brown. So I'm going to draw my candy bar here, and I'm going to just do a rectangle, and then I'm going to break my candy bar into 6 pieces. So I'm going to do the best that I can. And we know that in our drawings, we know that the portions are equal portions. If it doesn't look perfectly equal, that's okay, because you know that they are equal portions. The drawing is just a representation of your math, and it's okay if it's not perfect, because you would be able to explain yourself that it really is an equal portion. So I broke it in half, and then I'm going to break each of those halves in half again. And I believe that gives me 6 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did not. So I'm going to try again. I need 2 more pieces. So I'm going to go right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to go, let's see, right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, again, those are nowhere close to being equal. But it's okay. In my head, I know that those are actually equal shares and they're equal pieces. So I'm not going to erase and start all over and beat myself up that my drawing or my model isn't perfect. I'm just going to make sure that I represent my math as if they were equal shares, which means as a fraction, because we know that fractions have to be equal parts or parts that are worth the same amount. So I'm going to count these up. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how many pieces he broke it up into. So I showed that part of my math. Now he ate 2 of those pieces. So I'm going to just color those in because they're gone. That piece has eaten, and this piece has been eaten. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces left. So there was a total of 6 pieces, the amount to get to the whole candy bar. And what is left, which is the numerator, the part that I have, or the portion of the fraction that we have, is 4. So your answer was 4/6 for Thursday. All right, let's go to Friday. Woohoo, last day. It says Cater's flag is divided into 4 sections. Half of the sections are blue, 1 section is red, 1 section is white. Write the fraction of the red section. So I'm going to actually just end up drawing a flag, and I'm going to do close to a black color border. So I'm going to draw a rectangle for my flag, and I'm going to break my flag up into 4 sections like the story says. I'm gonna just kind of go like this. And it can be however I want the 4 sections, as long as I have 4 sections. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm gonna reread my story because I can't remember how much each section was colored. So it says half of the sections are blue. Well, I might not really know what half is here today because I don't have 2 equal halves. So I'm going to start with what I do know. What I do know is that one section is red. That's easier for me to identify. So I'm going to grab my red and I'm going to color this in red. And I'm not going to worry about making it all the way colored in. If you did this at home and you wanted to use markers, color pencils, and crayons so that you could see the colors, that would be a perfect strategy to help you with this. Then it says one section is white. For myself, just so I can see that I've done it, I'm going to do this kind of lighter blue color that looks like a white, and I'm going to just actually put a W to represent this is the portion that is white. Now I can see what half of the fourths are. It's actually 2/4. It's the same as a half. That's the equivalent fraction. I don't have to know that for this problem today, but it does help me for knowing what sections are blue. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the blue and I'm going to just color it in. This is blue and this is blue. And again, I'm not going to worry about making my model perfect as long as I can talk and represent my math. It's okay. So I have my blue, my red, and my white. The question is, write the fraction of the red section. So again, fractions. The denominator is the amount of pieces it takes to make the whole. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4. It took 4 pieces to make the whole flag. How many of those pieces were red? 1. 1 piece is red. So my answer for today would be 1/4 of the flag is red. All right, that's your story problems for this week. I hope that you did an excellent job. If you struggled with fractions or like you missed any of them, hopefully some of the strategies that I showed you today will help you go back, edit, and revise your thinking. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great weekend.